This is the Real Review, and I'm Huon Hooke, and we're talking to Sarah Crowe, the Chief Winemaker of Yarra Yering, which is our Winery of the Year for the Real Review. Winery of the Year 2021. Number one, top of the pops. And Sarah Crowe, you've won just about everything this year. You've scooped the pool. Ours is the most important award, of course, but you've won a few others. What's going to happen next year? Are you taking a year off?
Well, I'm thinking that maybe it's my time to retire.
Well, I hope they give you a good bonus or something, but you've had a fantastic year. What do you put it down to? 2018 and 19, the last two vintages you've released have been both exceptional years, I guess. Is that part of the story?
Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint one thing that might have led to the favourable reviews, etc. I feel like it's a real, there's a better understanding that we have now of the vineyard and how to translate that into the wine styles. And yeah, there's been a lot of effort put into the vineyard, and it's obviously the vineyard's so key to making beautiful wine and great wine of longevity that I think that effort's really been rewarded.
Absolutely. Well, I guess the first question on the list is, if there's one thing that explains the quality of the Yarra Yering wines, what is it, apart from Sarah Crowe?
Look, I think it's the vineyard site. It's an amazing site. It always has been. That's warm, beautiful, great for the varieties we grow. These ancient soils, dry grown, and all of these things combined just lead us to be able to grow amazing fruit and make wines that have this longevity that you don't see off any old vineyard. So yeah, I really do think it's the site that's the real hero.
The site is great. And do you still ferment the reds, at least, in those funny little boxes that Bailey Carradis, the founder, designed?
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess it's something that's been a real common thread from the 1973 vintage up to the 2021 vintage, is that the wines for Yarra Yering have always been through those quirky little fermenters. And whether or not it's the ratio of skins to ferment in liquid, the fact that they're hand plunged, so it's a nice gentle extraction of tannin and colour that makes them kind of the wines uniquely Yarra Yering. It probably goes, a fair way into being part of the style.
Well, another question I want to ask you, most winemakers, I think, have wines that inspired them at some point, or wines that they hold up as being benchmarks of the styles that they make. Is there one wine that you always return to in your mind as being a benchmark?
I'd have to say there's two wines that I go to, and they're really relevant to what we're making here at Yarra Yering, and in particular with our flagship wine, the dry red wine number one, and that would be the Yeringberg and Mount Mary. They're Cabernet blends, so the Mount Mary Quintet and the Yeringberg. And the reason that they're so important to me is that, it's about what we produce here in the Yarra. It's about making the best wines we can from our site. And, they're beautiful wines, and they're really, they're quite different styles and different again to Yarra Yering, but it's about having an understanding, I suppose, of what we can be producing from our site here, and what's uniquely Yarra, and then uniquely Yarra Yering is a little bit different again. But those two wines are really the benchmarks for me to look at in my role here at Yarra Yering.
And of all the wines that you make, do you have a personal favourite?
Well, when I came here, it was definitely the dry red wine number two. And, Shiraz was kind of in my blood, I suppose, because of the time I spent in the Hunter Valley and the Rhone Valley. But I think, right now at the moment, the wine I'm really enjoying the most is probably the Pinot Noir. And, like we just said earlier, Chardonnay and Pinot are varieties that are less known from Yarra Yering. But the Pinot is kind of where I'm putting a different kind of focus, I suppose, to normal. And that's a reflection of our site and understanding and trying to make sure, even though being a warmer site, we can still make these beautiful, elegant, fragrant, juicy Pinot Noirs.
And one variety that we don't see often from Yarra Yering, but we're featuring it in our masterclass, I think, which is coming up very soon, is the merlot. And is that the only time you've made a single varietal merlot in your tenure at Yarra Yering?
It is, yeah. So 2019 merlot. The last one before that was a 2012. And then I guess the most famous was the 1990. And when that was released, it was Australia's most expensive wine at $100 a bottle.
I remember it well.
It did make a stir, create quite a stir amongst the wine public and critics alike. But yeah, it's the first one I've made, and it's got such a story in itself that for me, it really has to stand up and be special for us to do a straight bottling.
So what prevents you making a single varietal merlot every year?
Well, it's also the second main component in our dry red wine number one. So I have to have not be compromising that blend to bottle a straight merlot at the same time. So we did have good yields of the merlot in 2019. So I was able to bottle off just 100 cases as something a little bit special.
There is one little question that I almost forgot, is that if you're at the top of the tree now, how can you keep improving from here?
Oh, I'm probably my own worst critic, and so that probably goes a long way in giving me the encouragement to constantly strive to do better each year. And we have quite a few projects going on across the vineyard, like a few new varieties being planted. So I guess that might be the next challenge, is to master some new varieties and to be making them in the quality that's expected from Yarra Yering. So yeah, we've got lots to do, lots to aim at, lots to strive for.
Wow. Okay. I'm looking forward to having it again with a meal at some stage, or at least something to eat. So anyway, great to chat to you, Sarah, and talking to Sarah Crowe, Chief Winemaker, Yarra Yering, which is the Real Review's #1 winery for 2021. Congratulations, Sarah.
Thanks so much, Huon.